Hello, my name's Tristan Jackson-Pate. I was one of the musicians and facilitators for Suitcase Stories 2. And I am speaking to you from my kitchen in North Oxfordshire, as sadly, on the date of filming, I was self-isolating with my family during the coronavirus pandemic. Fingers crossed we're all well and we'll be returning to work and school very soon. I'm delighted to reflect a bit on my experiences of this wonderful project many weeks after it's all taken place. It was a really fascinating one to work on and certainly different to anything I've done before. My background is originally having trained as an actor 10 years ago now at the Royal Birmingham Conservatoire. And over the last 10 years, I've become more interested in participatory community work. I run a small theatre company, but I've worked in the fields of music and dementia for almost as long as that, almost 10 years as well now. I found it through having done a musical theatre production of a play called Dreamboats and Petticoats with Bill Kenwright near the start of my career, which was a lot of 50s and 60s material. And my mum suggested at the end of it that I perhaps go to the local care home and see if they'd like to hear some music. And I did so, and it's taken me about 10 years after that to really hone my craft and devise a lot of repertoire and sort of explore my practice in working with older people, especially those with dementia. And I have found it to be so rewarding and just life affirming, really. And during COVID-19, I've been transitioning to working online with older people's groups and doing one-to-ones. And the practice I learned through taking part in Suitcase Stories and from some of the training that I received from Mindsong as part of that project and working with the other very skilled artists who joined the production has been absolutely invaluable. I've learned so much more about engaging with new people and adapting my practice to make it more inclusive and accessible to a wide range of people. What was really different about working on Suitcase Stories was not just working with new people and new artists and other songwriters, but was working with staff from the museums and learning so much about their practice and seeing how the objects they brought in informed the discussion and led the session, and to truly let the participants of the session lead it and be prepared to go off on interesting different avenues. For this, I found that my fairly wide-ranging repertoire from 50s and 60s music right through to, traditional folk songs and some hymns and sometimes even nursery rhymes or songs from musicals. It came really in handy because sometimes a memory would be sparked from an object and I'd be able to quickly grab a song from my back pocket. Although when I was preparing for the sessions, I did, of course, have a look at the suitcase we were going to bring in and have a think if I knew any material related to it or perhaps learn some new songs. And as I developed a relationship with the people in the groups, people would suggest things that they wanted me to learn. They'd find a big gap in my repertoire and say, oh, go and learn some Hank Marvin and bring it back next time, for example. I found working with the groups in that regular way so rewarding. Although there are care homes or hospitals or clubs and societies I go back to regularly to do music sessions with, I found the format of being able to sit and talk and look at objects together a great way to just dig a little bit deeper and get to know people more. And I think the thing that really changed my practice more than anything was that at no stage really, apart from the very end of the project, did I feel like a performer. I felt absolutely like a facilitator. So I would lead people in the music and learn those new skills I'd learned from the training about getting the most out of people, getting them joining in, using mirroring, or of course lots of eye contact and encouraging people gently to join in. But I think the most important thing for the kind of conversation I learned a lot from working with people from the museums was just to use a lot of silence, to ask open questions, let the participants pick it up, be very reassuring and engaged, but bring a lot less of myself to the project and actually just encourage them to open up and note down what they were saying and try and ask good questions. I filled up 2 notebooks full of notes as during the sessions, and I learned so many fascinating things about the areas. Which takes me to the performances at the very end of the project, which were just so lovely. They happened weeks after we'd finished the sessions. So I'd composed the songs, I'd recorded them, the CD had been produced. And then, of course, I sang them live to different community groups. And it was lovely to see those participants of the workshops who I'd spent a lot of time with over the weeks, and to see them nodding along. And some of them have heard the tunes already and had nice feedback, and some of them have heard them for the first time. And it was a wonderful experience to look out amongst the crowd of people and see people nodding along or smiling or laughing when I referenced something that had happened in the session. I was able to include lots of great local references, so it was wonderful to sing in Evesham about the Evesham Charter Market and hear some smiles, see some smiles and hear some laughs at that one. And there was a song I wrote called Suitcase Boogie, which included, it was a sort of the third song I wrote, and I just wanted to make sure I hadn't missed anything. So it included all the stuff that had happened in sessions that had really made me smile, which I'd not been able to fit into the other songs. So it was great to perform that to the groups and see people almost recognising each moment as they came. I think it's been an amazing project to learn from, and so vast in its impact. Just the journey that those groups went on together over such a long stage of time. And I know that the appetite from all of the groups that I work with was that they wanted to do a lot more. So I wish Arts Uplift every success in the next stages of rolling out Suitcase Stories even further and developing their model. I'd just like to say a little bit about the hospital performances. There's been an interesting legacy here, because as part of the project we went into the Alex Hospital in Redditch, which was a wonderful and unique experience. And different every time. We actually found in these settings, going on to the wards, that the objects were used a lot less, but it didn't matter. You would go into a ward with a guitar, start singing, and you'd suddenly find the staff joining in and patients sitting up in their beds and thinking, what's going on? And it was just so wonderful to go and completely change the atmosphere of a space. And I felt that the staff were very appreciative of us coming in as well. We were able to reach lots of people who probably really needed cheering up, a lot of them. It was always a nice thing to not see someone the following week we went back because they got to go home, which was great. Although there were some people who were there each week and I think really looked forward to and valued us coming and were very, very happy to talk to us. Whilst we didn't use the objects so much in the museum, I think the music was a great mechanism for opening people up, as it always is, and it has been throughout this project. You'd sing a song, you'd change the atmosphere in a room, and suddenly someone either with fairly advanced dementia who wasn't very communicative would suddenly beckon you over and want to talk to you. Or perhaps family of patients would also really feel that they wanted to bring you over to have a moment, maybe request a song and talk a bit with their family member. The wonderful legacy of this is that throughout lockdown, I've been able to explore more work with hospitals, and it's become a really central focus of my work. I've been doing weekly music sessions on an iPad with the JR Hospital in Oxford. And it's been very rewarding for me as an artist who's struggling to do my job in lockdown, because it all involves live theatre or live music. And hopefully for those patients, many of whom I'm the only person that day that they see not wearing a mask, and lots of whom have been in for a long time. I'm working on the ambulatory assessment unit and also the stroke ward. So I'm getting to form new relationships with people over an iPad. And I think if I hadn't had that experience of singing in hospitals as part of Suitcase Stories, I'm not sure if it's an avenue I would have considered, but I'm very glad that I have. Thanks to Jenny and everyone involved for making this a wonderful project, and best of luck with whatever Arts Uplift do next. Hello, my name's Tristan Jackson-Pate, and this is a song I wrote for the Suitcase Stories 2 project. It's called Honeysuckle. Wake up in the morning, it's a lovely sunny day. sun shines on the valley down from Bewdley to Blissgate. Let's go to the meadow where the honeysuckle grows. Crawl on hands and knees through the dirty undergrowth. No cares or worries, only hopes and dreams. We're just here now, living for the moment. That's the way we used to be. Running through the rushes, picking flowers, making dens. Giddy as we go, leap the stile or hop the fence. Let's go apple scrumping, now we'll climb the orchard wall. Let the farmer catch you and its curtains for us all. Running wild and young and free, we're just here now, living for the moment. That's the way we used to be. Home in time for dinner, can't be late by any means. Paul's caught us a rabbit, so we help Mum wash the beans. Then splashing in the tin bath on a Friday once a week. And Dad might read us stories as we all drift off to sleep. And we don't want for anything, we're just here now, living for the moment. That's the way we used to be. And when the autumn comes around, school will start back up again. Mum will wash and brush our hair, a teaspoon of cod liver oil, and then we'll walk the bridle paths, dragging our heels, complaining all the way. Teacher rings the bell and it's back in class till Saturday. More climbing trees and grazing knees, we're just here now, living for the moment. That's the way we'll always be. There we go. Just in case you would like a bit of context about the song. This song was really informed by some lovely sessions with groups all across the county about childhood and early days, and the school came into it as well. There were a lot of people who'd grown up in very rural places who told me some amazing stories. The one that really sticks in my head is a lady telling me that in her village school of about 20 pupils, she once walked to school and a friend of hers caught a rabbit. So brought it into school and the teacher cooked it on the hearth in front of the fire in their schoolroom, and they ate it for lunch, which I can't see getting through any contemporary school health and safety guidelines anytime soon. But it was just wonderful to hear people talk about their childhoods, and I have small children myself at the moment and made some really lovely friendships with some of the people in the groups who not only would they talk about their own childhood, they'd talk about the times in their life when they were raising small children. And it made me feel really lucky to be at this particular stage of my life, because it was one they all identified as being particularly brilliant. So that's Honeysuckle. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that all of these little bits of video are useful to you in putting together your film. Sorry I couldn't be there in person.